The P2 robot was brought in here for me, and Austin zip tied it, and it's very pretty. Hello, it is now Friday, and today I'm going to test P2 Swerve driving so that hopefully Drive Team can use it tomorrow. But first, I need someone to help me put it on those blocks so that I can zero the modules and make sure that it works relatively correctly. It's now on crates thanks to Austin and Cam, so it's now time for me to move the modules. Alright, the modules are now aligned properly, so it's time to get a battery. Fetching P2 code. And we're done. It's the cool kids staying after the official meeting ends. Hi, Carlos. Thanks, Carlos, for those insightful words of wisdom. Also, hi, Nate. All right, robots should not quit, but mine did. Yeah, this is the P2 code that James worked on.
Thanks, James.
Yep. Unfortunately, although he said it passed his tests, it does not work. Yay.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, James. Alright, so figuring out some of the issues, there's this null pointer exception, which means that it's probably referring to a variable that does not actually exist yet. So right here, it's calling 0 gyro in drive team line 140, and it's not liking that. And then the next issue at the next level up is when it calls config swerve. So looking into that, config swerve is called to instantiate this swerve drive object. So config swerve is what creates this, but then 0 gyro is called within config swerve, and this is where the issue really is. But 0 gyro then refers back to that variable that's created with the method that 0 gyro is called in, so it's effectively referring to a variable that does not exist yet because it's being used to create this variable. So that's an issue. We're gonna fix it. Alright, so I replaced the 0 gyro method with just config.gyro, so it's not referring to a variable that doesn't exist, .setYaw, which is what that method did. And now somehow that fixed all of the problems, so let's deploy and see what happens. Alright, so at first it seemed to be working where the wheels would drive, but now it suddenly just kind of stopped. And they're not moving at all. But the azimuth will move. Just it won't drive anymore. Okay, so apparently if I run it in autonomous, it does work, but teleop still does nothing at all. Alright, so it's now 11:01 p.m. I've kind of been sitting here trying to figure out what's going on for a while. And then I thought, since there's not too many differences between teleop and auto other than the control mode, I figured maybe it's a problem with the joystick. So I have this nifty feature on the smart dashboard where I can change whether I'm controlling it with a joystick or with a constant. So I decided to use that and see if it would run in teleop, and lo and behold, it does. Woo! Can't really see, but it does. So then I just plugged the joystick into a different port, and it works now. So, just to show you, we're now back in joystick mode. It's gonna oscillate for a bit, but if I use the joystick, it goes vroom. Very cool. Alright, some testing to make sure that everything goes in the correct direction. First is forwards, which should be this way. So currently all of the wheels are spinning the correct direction. Alright, so then backwards, which should of course be the opposite, that way. And they're good. And then we're gonna go to the right, which in this case, works. And then to the left. Alright, so it's on the ground and we're about to test it driving on the ground. Alright, it's time to test field-oriented control now. It is currently Saturday at 2:51 p.m. I just spent a bunch of time demoing the Swerve bot for people, and Caitlin just taught me how to strip wires. Yay! Yay! Now I'm gonna try to make the flight stick work with Swerve. Alright, so the flight stick now works. I've also set it up so that you can switch to using the F310. I'm currently trying to test the subsystems other than the drivetrain on the P2 bot, but I'm getting some errors on the CAN bus, specifically IDs 5 and 4, which are supposed to be the intake and balancer, and it's kind of just yelling at me a lot. So I'm gonna see if Austin's here and ask him about it. So I have this USB-C cable that I stole from electrical, and I'm gonna plug it into one of the CAN devices and then do something. I don't really know what I'm doing at all, but I'll try to figure it out. My action items for next week are to get autos working correctly on the P1 bot so that I can start testing them on the P2 bot.